When I turned 8 years old, I woke up 5 minutes later than I should have. I rushed to the school bus, which was about to leave me behind, and in my hurry, I didn't notice the girl who was barreling towards me, hoping to catch the bus just like I did. We crashed into each other, and the girl pushed me away and the bus door closed on me. She looked back at me and stuck her tongue out. That was when I knew I was in love with Julia. Hi, my name's Casper, and people tell me I'm a bit clumsy. Not just physically, but I'm also awkward when dealing with others. That's probably because I'm in my head a lot. I have a lot of thoughts. My memory tends to retain things better than normal, and I always have ideas milling around in my brain. Thanks to all that, I did very well in school, and thanks to my awkwardness, I didn't do well at getting girls' attentions. Julia and I became great friends. We grew up with each other. I found out she lived down the road, so we spent a lot of time on weekends exploring the woods behind our neighborhood. We were both kids of poor families, and we shared the same dream of taking our families out of poverty. Before Julia went away for college, I almost confessed to her, but as she waved me goodbye from across the street, I couldn't find the courage to tell her 3 simple words, and then it was too late.
Julia, get in the car already. We'll be late for our flight.
It was 5 years later when she came back, and Julia had completely changed. Different hairstyle, different clothes, different attitude, different Julia. Her dad made it big abroad, and Julia and her family were rich now. Suddenly, she wouldn't answer my calls. She was too busy to meet up, and yet I always saw her hanging out with people on her Instagram stories. I guess being rich meant she had no time for someone like me. My brain told me that I needed to prove myself to her. I needed to be on her level. So even though finance was something I definitely didn't envision for myself, I went to work for a brokerage company. I'd always been good at numbers and seeing trends. My friends always told me I could strike it big if I played in casinos, but I'm just not the type to gamble. So imagine my surprise when I first got the taste of gambling with stocks at that firm, and I turned out to be really good at it. I was given a minor client, just a regular retired lady who had some money to invest. I somehow got her to agree to a risky investment, and 2 days later, that risk paid off, big time. That old lady was suddenly sitting on millions, and my boss called me into her office and instantly promoted me from intern to full-time broker. I made better and better bets on the stock market, and my name kinda became legendary. Most of the time, when new clients come in, they only wanted me to manage their investments. I impressed my boss and my colleagues to no end. But the one person I couldn't impress was the senior broker there, Julia. No matter what I did, she still ignored me. Didn't bother to even pretend to remember my name. When I earned my first million and finally got myself a humble apartment of my own, I decided surely I had done enough to get her attention. So I approached her when she walked past my desk. Hi, it's me, Casper. Do you want to go to dinner with me?
Excuse me?
Oh, I was wondering if you'd like to go on a date, dinner with me. I tried to play it cool and lean back in my cubicle, and my elbow slipped and my face slammed into it.
What? Are you asking me out on a date? Dressed like that? Here's some advice. Don't punch above your own weight. You're just a junior broker, and you don't even know how to dress or talk to women. You were a loser, and you still are. You'll never be on my level. I'm way out of your league. I suggest you go play some stupid online game and date some country mouse from there. That seems more your speed, okay?
She flipped her hair and walked away like it was no big deal, but I stood there feeling smaller than a speck of dust. My heart was broken, and she humiliated me in front of everyone I knew. I couldn't even sit still for a whole 5 minutes from the shock of it. But then I felt someone touch my arm. She had a really delicate voice when she spoke to me. I'm sorry she said all that. I don't think you're a loser, and if she can't see how special you are, I can. Now, Here's the thing. I didn't even hear what Audrey said. My brain was still at the part where my crush of many years just destroyed me. I must have heard a third of what she said and understood none of it, because the next thing I said and did made everyone gasp. That's nice. Congratulations. Excuse me. I left her there. And when I looked back, I saw Audrey crying, and the rest of the girls at the office comforting her. I didn't understand what just happened, but I had one goal in my mind. I had to go after Julia. I ran towards her office, but before I could announce my presence, I saw her in the corridor having a heated phone conversation.
I told you, it's going to happen. Their stock is going to skyrocket thanks to some Reddit nerds. Do this. Do this right now and sell it around noon tomorrow. You'll make billions. Okay, love you, bye.
I tripped before I could announce my presence, and Julia jumped.
Whatever you heard, it's nothing.
That sounded a lot like you were giving someone a tip.
I told you, it's nothing.
Julia said she'd go on a date with me if I kept my mouth shut. I told her what she was doing was wrong. She told me she'd destroy my career. She laughed and told me nobody else would date me, and I believed her. The option of going on a date with her sounded way more enticing. I admit, I was weak. As I left the office, I couldn't stop being excited about our date the next day. I was also looking forward to relax and watch some anime. But before I could get to my car, my surroundings went dark. A bag was put over my head and I was shoved into a vehicle. I thought for sure Julia had gone full evil mastermind on me. But when the bag was finally lifted off my head, I saw my gorgeous boss standing over me. I was tied to a chair and there was an interrogation lamp swinging back and forth over my head. 7 other pairs of eyes glowered at me from behind my boss. And when finally someone turned the lights on, I saw that it was just the girls from the office.
Why did you reject Audrey?
For an entire hour, my boss and my hot colleagues grilled me about why I ignored Audrey. And at first, I didn't understand what they meant, until someone showed me a recording of what I'd done. And it suddenly dawned on me. I was the reason she was crying. I was so focused on other stuff, I didn't know I'd unknowingly done to Audrey what Julia did to me. And I felt bad. I felt so bad. I suddenly blurted out Julia's secret without meaning to. I was just really nervous.
So, just make up for it. You just make things right.
I didn't know what she meant by that, but I just wanted it all to stop. I wanted to be home watching anime. I'm sorry, I'll do anything. The girls slowly untied my arms and sat on either arm of the chair, playing with my hair. They whispered in my ear and it made my spine shiver.
You have to sign a contract. If you won't have Audrey, now you have to marry me.
She made me sign a marriage contract, and she told me to dress sharp in the morning for our wedding. I was so confused, but I felt so trapped that I just followed what they said. They eventually released me and dropped me off at home. I watched my anime, but I could barely pay attention. All I could think of was what a mess my life suddenly became in the last 12 hours. I got rejected, I made someone cry, I got captured, tied to a chair, confessed to my crush's insider trading, and now I was about to marry my own boss. Suddenly, I wished for my boring life back. When I walked into the office the next day, I was greeted with smiles. A girl passed and handed me a coffee. Another handed me a donut. One girl picked the lint off my shirt. They showed me to a corner office that they said was mine. Another girl put a pillow on my chair, sat me down, and began giving me a head massage. They waited on me hand and foot. I was so convinced that the previous night was a bad fever dream. But now it seemed like a strange reality.
Excuse me? Why are you all in my office? What is happening here? Did you suddenly win the lotto? These girls must be delirious if they're paying you this much attention. Get off my chair and go fetch me a coffee, or I'm calling off our date.
You know what? I must have been looking at you all these years with rose-colored glasses on, 'cause these girls are way prettier than you. I don't care about the date anymore. I'd rather not date someone who cheats their way to the top. I covered my mouth with my hands as soon as I said it. I'd never had that much confidence before. I knew I believed my words, but I just couldn't believe I had actually said them out loud. Julia looked like she was about to explode.
How dare you?
Our boss appeared at the doorway, flanked by two men.
Shut up, Julia. Your ride's here. What? No! No! Casper's lying. It's my word against his. You can't do this to me. He misheard.
I have great hearing, Julia, and so does the hidden camera in that hallway. I pointed to a blinking light that Julia had missed in the hall. The camera recorded her phone conversation and all the others she had had over the last 6 months. We found out she was enriching her politician boyfriend with insider trading. When the news broke, it ruined her boyfriend's career. He broke up with her so fast. They both spent 10 years in prison and were fined $5 million each. As soon as my boss confirmed that I was a good person, she presented Audrey to me. She was wearing a white dress and she looked even more beautiful. She shyly said hello. I forgot to mention, Audrey's my daughter, and we share the exact same name. They drove us to a beautiful chapel where my family and friends were waiting. It turned out the marriage contract I signed was for Audrey, not my boss. We shared our first kiss and got married that same day as everyone cheered.